Hey guys, how's it going? Zoltan here, and thanks a lot for stopping by and hanging out here with us at Zoltan's Bass Lounge. It's really great to have you guys here. Okay, now I'd like to get into our essential chords and essential chord types here, okay, before we start to learn them, okay? And to begin with, let's just establish that we have major, minor, augmented, and diminished chord types. So we have 4 different chord types, okay? And the essential or basic chords that we have contain 3 notes, all right? So therefore, they are called triads. So from now on, what I'll do, I'm just going to call them triads, okay? I'm not going to call them chords anymore. I'm just going to say triads, so I mean these essential 3-note chords, okay? Major, minor, augmented, or diminished, okay? And all of these chord types build on major and minor third intervals, okay? And there is a difference in the order of these intervals that builds the different quality of these triads, okay? All right, so basically, actually, let's just get started with the major triad, all right? And let's find out what the structure of this triad is, okay? Now, the major triad, from the ground up, from the root note, is built on a major third. So from the root note, we have to move up to a major third. And then from this major third, we have to move up to a minor third. So basically, the major triad is a stack of a major third followed by a minor third, okay? And the outer notes, the lowest and the highest note in this triad, create a perfect fifth, okay? Now, let's just see what it means in practical life for us, okay? So we'll pick a root note. We'll pick a C here, okay? And from this C, we're going to have to move up a major third, so we're going to have to move to an E natural, okay? And from this E natural, we'll have to move up a minor third, so we'll have to move up to a G natural, okay? And that is our major triad from C, starting on a C. So C to E and G, okay? And notice how the C and the G create that perfect fifth interval, okay? Just like that, all right? Now, it's very important to sing this triad as well, so it's not just the academic knowledge that you'll have, but you also really solidify the sound of this triad in your ears, okay? So when you play it at home, just keep humming it, you know. It's also a great idea if you have a piano at home or a keyboard to play this triad as C, E, G on a piano and just hum it along, you know, just to really start to establish the sound in your ears. Okay, so C, E, G, E, C. Okay, now the next triad is our minor triad. And so let's just see what builds this triad, you know, what's the order of the third intervals, okay? Oh, and just one more thing about the major triad. Obviously, because it started with a major third, that major third gave the major triad its major quality of sound, okay? So anytime the starting third of your chord will decide whether or not you're playing a major or minor quality of sound, or major or minor chord, okay? So that's very important to know, all right? Now let's get on to the the minor triad. Now the minor triad, from the ground up, from the root note, is a collection of a minor third, and that's the interval that will give this chord a minor quality of sound, okay? And then from this minor third, we'll have to move up a major third, okay? So basically, the minor triad is a collection of a minor and then a major third, or a stack of a minor and major third, okay? And also still, the lowest and the highest note still actually creates a perfect fifth for us, okay? That will change in the other augmented and diminished chords, but we're still having a perfect fifth with the outer notes with the lowest and highest note, okay? So again, let's just put it in practice, and let's just see it on the bass. We'll pick the C as our root note again, as our starting note. So from this C, we need to move up to an E flat, which will be the minor third from the C, okay? And then from this E flat, we have to move up a major third now, which will take us up to a G natural, okay? And that is our C minor triad, okay? C, E flat to G, okay? again, the outer notes, the lowest note and the highest note is still a perfect fifth. Okay. Now, the sound of this triad is vastly different from the major triad. We have the first interval, the first minor third, really creates a big difference with this triad. So, first we had do, 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 do for the major triad. Now we have do, 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 do for the minor triad. Okay. Do, 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 do. So it's a minor third plus a major third, our minor triad. Okay, that's wonderful. Now let's carry on to our next triad, and that will be the augmented triad. Okay. Now the augmented triad is a little bit different from the major and minor triads in its structure, because it's actually made up of two of the same triads, two of the same thirds, the major third. So basically the augmented triad is a stack of two major thirds. Okay, so from the C, if I took the C again as a starting note, I'd have to move up to an E, okay, as my first major third interval. Now from this E, I'm gonna have to move up another major third now to a G sharp. Okay, and that is exactly the reason why this triad is called an augmented triad, because between the root note and the fifth, there is an augmented fifth interval. Okay, so basically we have augmented the perfect fifth to an augmented fifth, and therefore this triad is actually called an augmented triad. Okay. So basically it's the relation between the root note and the fifth that decided the name of this triad, because we have that augmented fifth in this triad. Okay, and it will be exactly the same with the diminished triad, where we will diminish the fifth down to a flattened fifth. But let me actually but I'll give you that in a minute. So let's just go back to this triad actually, and really get that sound into our ears. Okay, so we'll have it do, 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 do. That is the augmented triad, two major thirds stacked up on top of each other. Okay. Now, last but not least, a very, very important triad, the diminished triad, that will come in place in our dominant seventh harmony quite a bit. Okay, and like I already hinted at it, the diminished triad is a stack of two minor thirds. Okay, and because these two minor thirds don't exactly reach that fifth, the perfect fifth interval from the root, what we have to do when you play this interval, let's say from the C, we come up to an E flat. Now from that E flat, another minor third will take us up to a G flat. And if you go back to your C as your root note and now come up to your G flat, you notice that we're not playing a perfect fifth anymore. We have actually diminished our perfect fifth to a flattened fifth. So therefore, this triad is actually called a diminished triad. Okay, so it's basically, again, the relationship between the root note and the fifth of the triad, which this time has been diminished to a flattened fifth. So therefore, it is called a diminished triad. Okay, and it consists of two minor third intervals from a root note. So in this case, the C is our root note, or our starting point. That takes us up to an E flat, the first minor third, and then the second minor third will take us up to a G flat, and that creates our diminished triad. Okay, it's a very, very good sound. It's a great sound, and we will see this sound come up in a lot of different situations. Okay, and let's just sing it. So we start to actually learn the sound of this triad. So it will be do, bo, Now, before we finish this video, I'd like to actually clarify just one little thing here about chords and arpeggios, okay? Because it has come up in my teaching life a lot now. Just basically there is sometimes a little confusion about what a chord and what an arpeggio is. Simply, a chord is when you play the tones of a chord all together simultaneously, and that will, in the case of the C major, will sound like this. Let's just listen to this little piano chord here. So all together, like that, that's what it sounds like. Or you can play them separately, like on a bass. So, for example, C, E, G, E, C. And that is what an arpeggio is. So all together, chord, separately played, arpeggio. Okay, but you're still playing the same sound. You know, let's say that being a C major, a D minor, anything. You know, if you play them all together, then it's a chord, and separately they are an arpeggio. Separately played, they form an arpeggio. Okay, so that's very important to know. All right, now, excellent, you guys. So this is some very good information and very important information here about all our chord types. Okay, and what comes next is the major triads down here in our lower positions in all 12 keys. Okay, so that will give us again a whole load of great information, technique-wise and also musical knowledge-wise. Okay, so let's just carry on, and I'll see you in the next video, and we'll start with our B flat and F major triads. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.